Here we have a sentence correction question, and this is a good one to talk about pronoun ambiguity. As always, I had to redact portions due to copyright, so go ahead and hit pause on this video. Check out the GMATClub link to the full unredacted question in the description box below. Read through it, and when you're ready, come back here. All right, so let's take a look at A. As always, A just repeats what the original sentence says. The Supreme Court has ruled that public universities can collect fees even with students' objections, comma, so long as the groups they give money to will be chosen without regard to their views. All right, so let's take a look at what I think is the easiest place to start with this question, although you could start in a few places, with this pronoun they. So they is a plural pronoun. So whenever we see that, we want to take a look at what are the plural nouns in the sentence. Supreme Court, that's singular. Public universities, that's plural. Can collect fees, that's plural. And then students' objections, that's plural. So this is a little bit troubling, right? It's like, so long as the groups they give money to, the universities give money to, the fees give money to, the objections give money to, you could make the argument that really only universities makes sense, but it's still pretty problematic to have three plural antecedent possibilities. So I would say this is something that you might make a note of it, but you wouldn't automatically cross it off. I also would look to see what other answer choices repeat that pronoun they. So if I take a look at B, if they have objections, C, if they object, D, we don't have it, and E, we don't have it. So again, does it automatically mean that like A, B, and C are wrong? No, but I think it's something to consider with the GMAT in particular. Like if you have a choice between an extra pronoun and a choice that does not have that pronoun, it's up to you to justify the inclusion of that pronoun. So in general, I would say, and again, it's just generalization, the GMAT prefers fewer pronouns whenever possible. So if we take a look at this, A, B, and C invite some ambiguity, essentially. Now, again, the GMAT, I would say of all the grammatical errors on the GMAT, pronouns is sort of the one thing where you have to tread a little bit more carefully on. Sometimes they sort of, I don't want to say break, but maybe bend their own rules a little bit. But still, with a question like this, almost certainly D or E, we're going to find the correct answer there. So let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at D. The Supreme Court has ruled that public universities can collect fees even from students who object, so long as the groups given money are chosen without regard to their views. Okay, there's nothing incorrect about this. There's a few nice things going on here. They've introduced this pronoun who, which is right next to students, so it's very clear what it is taking the place of. It's the students who object. Also, I want to take a look at this preposition from. Prepositions are words that describe relationship between things. It's interesting that A had with, B and C had if. So with, the Supreme Court has ruled that public universities can collect fees even with objections. It has a little bit of an illogical meaning. It's like, are the objections part of the fees? Like, what exactly is that relationship? In D, with from, the meaning is a lot more clear and logical. The Supreme Court has ruled that public universities can collect fees even from students. Ah, right, the fees are coming from the students. A lot more clear. So one of the takeaways from this, I would just say, is prepositions can often create meaning, right? A relationship between ideas. So these tiny words like of, to, in, with, from, right? These are very important words. Whoops, I just realized I'm writing this and you can't see it. Of, to, in, and with, you can see those. Those tiny, tiny words have a huge amount of importance on the GMAT, both for modifiers and meaning. All right, and then E, let's take a look. The Supreme Court has ruled that public universities can collect fees even though students have an objection, comma, but the groups that are given the money be chosen without regard to their views. right? So at the end, you know, the beginning wasn't too bad. You know, I like that idea of maybe going even though, turning it into a contrasting meaning. That's kind of cool. But it falls apart at the end when we say that the Supreme Court's ruled that universities can collect fees even though students have an objection. That makes sense, comma, but the groups that are given the money be chosen. That's not clear. That the verb isn't right. It doesn't make sense with the rest of it. You know, it would almost need to say something like, so long as the groups that are given the money are chosen or shall be chosen or maybe are chosen. I keep trying to change it to the correct answer. So great. So obviously I just said it. D is our correct option. So really nice question. Brings up pronoun ambiguity, how prepositions contribute to the overall meaning of a sentence. Also, I think in E, it's a good reminder to always go back to what's non-underlined in the original sentence. Like if we had just read E, but the groups that are given the money B, and just stopped there, we might have been like, oh, okay, maybe that's right. But as soon as you put it together with the whole thing and read it back, there's a much higher likelihood that you'll hear that E is illogical. So takeaways, again, pronoun ambiguity, not a hard and fast rule, but the idea that you're going to have 3 possible antecedents makes an answer choice much less likely to be correct. Watch for prepositions. They contribute to the meaning of sentences. And as always, every single answer choice, before you make a decision on it, read it back into the full sentence, looking at the non-underlined pieces to make sure that they play nicely with each other.